Didn't think I'd be doing another live feed so quickly after 2 yesterday. But news alert, Dara K, the Uber CEO, threatens that he will shut down Uber in California. That's what he told the judge. Dara, stop making idle threats. Do it, right? If you've got the BALLS, do it, right? You're just bluffing. You're all about fear marketing, right? You're all about scaring drivers. You're all about threatening. You're all about trying to intimidate the judge by saying, oh, we're going to shut it down. Do it. Do it. Stop the threats and just do it. That's what I say to Dara. Just do it, right? Here's the thing. He doesn't have the guts nor the balls to do this, right? But instead, he's sending out both orchestrated same day. California court ruling could limit your ability to access Uber. Could, maybe it would. You see, could, those are not definites. They're all just these subtle, stupid threats, right? Just dumb threats here and there. Let's just listen to this for a second.
Hey, Leslie, Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi saying for the first time publicly that he may shut down the app entirely in California if the appeal is not accepted by the court. Now, he made the comments on MSNBC, and they come after a California judge ruled earlier this week that Uber had to treat its drivers as employees immediately, that they have a 10-day stay. Now, what's going on here, guys, may be some sort of brinkmanship rather than bringing on over 100,000 drivers as employees. Khosrowshahi and Uber may be betting that closing down the app for a while in California would turn sentiment against AB5. That is the California
they cannot afford it. It's the number one market.
Here. Yesterday on Squawk Alley,
we spoke
to California AG, and who said that and I asked him if he thought Uber would go this far, and he said that any business model that relies on shortchanging workers in order to make it probably shouldn't be anywhere, whether California or otherwise. Shares in both Uber and Lyft, they are up on the session, guys. Remember that these expectations, the increasing regulatory pressures are well built in. Though if Uber actually does shut down in California, remember that LA and San Francisco are two of Uber and Lyft's most important markets. Back to you.
Yeah, Deirdre, it's a risky gambit, isn't it, for a couple reasons. One, there's a partial shutdown at least going on, so you'd imagine demand isn't that strong. And then Lyft isn't saying that they're going to shut down, so it's not like people don't have options.
That's right. What it could do is push more people towards Lyft. We've reached out to them and haven't heard back yet. But I think what I've heard is the idea of just bringing on over 100,000 drivers as employees is just too much of a logistical nightmare. Remember that these companies are already bleeding money, billions of dollars in Uber's case, a year. So to spend more money, the business model just wouldn't make sense. Dara Khosrowshahi, I know, as you know, John, wrote an op-ed saying that they want to find some kind of middle ground, and this will be brought to voters in November under Prop 22. So this story is far from over. I guess the real question, the urgent question for investors is, within less than 10 days, does Uber actually go so far as to shut down the app? And in that case, drivers and riders, they probably both lose out.
So, middle ground, right? The third way, as they call it, the third way or middle ground. You know, there's another travel guy who has a YouTube channel. I think his name is Mark, and said I was dead wrong. Came out with a big video that I was dead wrong about this. I've been saying this for 2 years, right? I've been preaching the third way, the hybrid law, right? So these threats now, they mean nothing. The judge knows they mean nothing, right? This is a little child stomping his feet. I'm going to shut you down. I'm going to shut you down. Do it, Dara. Judges should just say, do it. If you want to shut it down, do it. They'll never, ever shut their number one market or their two number one cities, Uber and Uber Los Angeles, Uber San Francisco. They would never shut them down. So all you are hearing from both sides, look at this. This is Lyft's one. Take action. Don't lose your flexibility. It's a threatening email going out to drivers. We know Most drivers prefer to control their own schedules, and we're doing everything we can to make sure you're in charge of when, where, and how long you drive. However, court cases limit your ability to work as an independent contractor in California. Firstly, they're using this word independent contractor where we are not true independent contractors. They obviously are convoluting the meaning of independent contractor. They like to use this word very, very loosely because we are not true independent contractors under the law, right? And all they can do is, and they got themselves here. They got themselves to this point, right? They could have worked out something in December. No, they chose to sue the state. Good luck when you're going to sue the state, right? They're going to throw unlimited resources at you, and they'll file lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit until your walls come down. And they did that successfully from January right up to August. Now they're at this point. Who got them to this point? Dara Khosrowshahi with his arrogance, and John Zimmer and Logan Green with their arrogance. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, they thought they were above the law. What you do in this incident is, okay, they mean business in December, right? January the 1st, they mean business. The state voted on AB 5. Let's sit down like diplomats and work out a deal, right? Let's see what elements of independent contractorship fit in here. Let's see what elements of employee rights, health rights, safety net fits in here, and let's work out a deal. But ladies and gentlemen, not without the gig workers, not without the drivers at the table. We have to be at the table. But in their arrogant fashion, no, we're above the law. Remember Tony West? Oh, we're not a ride share company. We're a technological platform, right? All this BS, and they're at this point. So I'm going to tell you something. The only people that got themselves here and should be pointing at themselves are Dara Khosrowshahi, Logan Green, and John Zimmer because of their massive, massive arrogance. And then probably a guy also like Tony West who says, you know what, don't worry, I'll spin the law in a different direction, we'll be okay. No, you're not going to be okay, right? Because they will pound you relentlessly. They want to see money. Just like we need to see Jeff Bezos start paying some taxes on Amazon, right? They shouldn't be making billions and billions and billions in this market, right? And hiding their monies offshore. They're paying nothing into the system, right? If these big boys in California, right? Apple, Google, Amazon, all of these companies, Uber, Lyft, they gotta start paying in, right? If you want to get the economy kick-started, if you want to, have new roads, new infrastructure, you got to go in there and demand a portion of taxes from them. It is not right that average Joe, little Joe on the street is paying his taxes and these multi-billionaires, right? He's a centi-billionaire, right? Over $100 billion, Jeff Bezos. And guess what? Not paying anything in because he's hiding all the taxes overseas in his safe havens, in his tax safe havens. So, I say to Dara K today, don't threaten us. Don't threaten the state. Don't threaten the judge. Do it. Shut it down, right? Put your money where your mouth is. Shut it down. I dare you, right? Don't use fear marketing, manipulation, bullying, fear marketing, bullying, manipulation. Do it. If you put these words in your mouth, right, show us that you have the goons, the balls to do it. Otherwise, you are meaningless. You are nothing. You are laughing stock, right? So Uber here says, you're hearing from me on the second day in a row. See, desperation. You're hearing from me second day in a row. I've been on Harry's channel. I wrote an opinion piece in the New York Times. I am the Uber CEO. Now you're hearing from me again. And I emailed you the day before. Can't you hear me yet? But I want you to hear this. I have this fear message for you. I will cut you off. Look, Dara, for 10 years, for 10 years, you acted this way. Now suddenly the pressure's on you and you have to perform. And how do you perform? You perform by making threats. You perform by threatening that you'll shut it down. I say, shut it down, right? Shut it down. Now let's read this article here briefly. Uber CEO says its service will probably shut down temporarily in California if it's forced to classify drivers as employees. Uber and rival Lyft both have about a week left to appeal a preliminary injunction granted by a California judge on Monday. They know they would lose that appeal. And knowing that, why don't you try and really send your legal troops down to these offices in California and say, listen, we screwed up, we effed up, let's work something out so that it's a win-win situation. And all I ask is that drivers or gig workers are at the table in those negotiations. I don't think it would be right if the state and the companies negotiate behind our backs in some back room, right? That is wrong. So if the appeal doesn't work out for Uber, it will bank on voters to determine its fate in voting on Proposition 22, which would exempt drivers for app-based transportation and delivery companies from being considered employees. So this is how they gambled. This is probably a combination of John Zimmer, Logan Green, Dara Khosrowshahi, Tony West sitting down and say, how do we handle this? Well, you know what? Let's put $110 million aside. Let's go out into the public. Let's go into shopping centers, sit in front of Starbucks, blah, blah, and pay for signatures, right? Pay up to $4 per signature. Let's spend that $110 million to get on the ballot. And let's convince the public. And let's put the fear into the public. Same way they're playing the fear game with us. They're going to play the fear game with the public saying, hey, your services could be taken away. You might never have rideshare again. If you do have rideshare, you're going to be paying a fortune. Fear, fear, fear. Vote yes on 22. A ballot bill written by the corporations, right? So if you've spent $110 million on a bill written by the corporations, I will bet my last bottom dollar that that bill is written suitably for the companies, not for the workers. So they dangle a couple of little carrots and say, well, we'll do this and this and this for you. And a couple of those ideas are good, but those are just words, right? You don't know at the end of the day if they win yes on 22 what they'll actually do, right? It'll be a watered down version of what they are offering. And you're going to be back to square one. And rideshare is not going to make sense, right? So I say keep on pushing, put on the relentless pressure in social media. That's why I'm making yet another video this morning, right? To keep the pressure on, to keep on connecting with the public. And that is vote no on 22. Stand with your drivers. Vote no on 22. Stand with your drivers so that we have the collective bargaining power and can say to them, hey, we won this ballot, right? Or we won this court case because we got ourselves on this AB5. We got that bill in there, and we have the power now to negotiate, and this is the way it is. Raise the rates, right? Which means the riders will have to pay more. The problem is that Uber and Lyft work together and cozy up to the passengers, the riders. They are too fearful to raise the rates, right? They want to have rates below taxis. They want to drive the taxi business out of the city. They want to drive the shuttle business out of the city. They want to control the whole show. And the only way you do that is you completely annihilate and destroy your opposition with low prices. Subsidize, discount, subsidize at the cost of our drivers. We're going to take away from the drivers and we're going to subsidize this fight so we can push these taxi companies out of business, push these, ladies and gentlemen, the largest shuttle company, the Blue Shuttle here in California, shut down. Taxi organizations have shut down. They cannot compete with that pricing structure that Uber and Lyft is putting out there, right? That is why these companies are making billions and billions of dollars of losses, quarter to quarter, losses, so that they subsidize, and drive their competitors out of the market. They've been very successful at that. They truly shut down an amazing shuttle service, right? Where you could literally drive from Ventura to LAX maybe for $20 because a couple of people would pool in a van and take the shuttle down to LAX. Now, you can't do that in the pandemic, but even their bankruptcy, them shutting down even happened before the pandemic. Why? Because Uber and Lyft systematically drove them out of the market, right? And we got to put a stop to that. And the way we put a stop to that is saying, you pay us right, you make sure you take care of us in a pandemic, or if another, God forbid, another pandemic happens, you have a health safety net, you have drivers, you have a voice, right? That you have some sort of bargaining or collective bargaining power, right? And yes, you will have to lift the rates, which will be good for the taxi industry, which will see some shuttle companies come back because they think that, okay, now that the rider or the passenger with Uber and Lyft is paying a little bit more and the driver is getting a little bit more, we can stay competitive, right? So let me read out some of the messages here. Ronald Van Engen says, if nobody drives, there is no Uber. You know what? Shut it down. I say shut it down, right? Shut it down. 100 other jobs out there. And if they want to start treating us correctly, fire it all up, start it up. But why don't they use this time now to rally and go and work out a new law, right? Where the state, the company, and the drivers, it is possible to create a win-win-win situation, right? The only thing is that the rider would have to be willing to pay 15, 20% more for that trip. And I'm sure they will because it's so heavily discounted. People say, taxi, please. Mark Roughton, take your freaking ball and go home. One Daily, they might shut down temporarily to change the public sentiment. They have always manipulated the public opinion. Well, good luck with that one, you know. Good luck with that one if they want to shut it down. They'll alienate so many people. People will go out there, get back into their own cars. People will go out there and buy cars. I know firsthand from the directors at BMW that they have a plan in place because they know that ridership is going down. They know that Uber and Lyft is going down, and they want to get those people into their own BMW cars. So they have a marketing plan for that. People are aware. Auto manufacturers, car companies are aware what's going on in this industry. So by all means, they'll be laughing all day long. They'll say, Uber, don't talk, shut it down, right? Shut it down. Car manufacturers, car sales will be boosted if he shuts it down, right? Because people still need transportation. The guy's not going to get on a bus. No, he's going to go and get his car out of the garage, or he's going to go and lease a car, or he's going to go and buy a car, right? It's just this degree of laziness. I'm going to catch a super cheap fare from A to B with UberX, right? Pay hardly anything, not even tip my driver. That's the environment that we have created for citizens. We've turned them into these lazy, cheap, fair type of people that don't even want to tip, right? Where are the good old days when you got in your own car and you drove through traffic? Gus on the Rock says, cab companies have their own app now. Yes, they had to. It's an adapt or die situation, right? Adapt or die, right? You got Airbnb coming along. Well, people have to adapt to that. Hotels have to adapt to that, right? So it truly is an adapt or die situation. If the taxis wanted to still do business the same way, hey, call a taxi. No, You got to, in order to keep up with technology, you got to at least have what the others have or better, right? Adapt or die. That's, sink or swim. Ron Deutsch, if they shut down, we can open a new driver-based company. By all means, right? So I say to Dara, stop your threats. If you want to shut it down, right? Put your money where your mouth is, and you will not shut it down because you know that San Francisco is your number one city. You started there. Everyone uses Uber or Lyft in San Francisco. Los Angeles, California is their biggest market worldwide. They ain't going to shut it down. And they are not going to risk alienating their passengers, their rider base. They're not going to risk that. And the judge knows those are empty threats. And we should also know those are empty threats made by Dara Khosrowshahi. They mean nothing. They mean zero. They're just fear marketing campaigns, just like his email he sent out yesterday, right? Nothing will happen for at least 9 days as we challenge the ruling. So for now, you can continue to use Uber as you usually do. We'll let you know what happens next. Keeping you in the dark. We'll let you know. We might shut down. Right? We know this could not have come at a worse time for you and your families as we find ourselves in the middle of a pandemic and economic crisis. You never took care of your drivers during the pandemic. You never set funds aside for people that got sick. You never sent them the PPE. So stop pretending. Stop playing the whiny little bitch at this time, right? I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Well, Wally Space says, this is the kiss of death for me, right? No, it's not. Why would it be the kiss of death for you? Look at this as an opportunity for you. Why would this be the kiss of death? You're not going to be shut off the app, right? Are you already buying into their psychology? Ed Steigelmeier says it correctly. They're full of shit. They're bluffing. They're threatening. This is not the kiss of death for you. This is the opportunity for you to stand up, pressurize them, and get a better deal, right? Mounting the chips. You've never been in a tough negotiation where trying to get your worth, and then they try to water you down on this. Oh, we're only going to give you 5 cents. Well, I want $1 for that. Well, we're only going to give you 5 cents. Well, okay, good luck. Go and find it for 5 cents. Bye-bye. Watch the guy come back. Randy Lee, why will he shut down? He wants Uber to fail. Then he buys hostile takeover in the other channel. Daniel Sanchez is in the house. Need to remove those $2 ride requests. Exactly. Those $2 ride requests, Daniel, don't even fit in here, right? They should set a minimum. The problem is if you have Lyft and Uber competing, right? The one always tries to discount more and go lower than the other, right? There has to be a starting point of a minimum that you're making a minimum of $5. It is an insult. It is an insult to gig workers if you see something, oh, you can make $2 or $2.50 out of this trip. Hell no. So you say no, you turn that down, and what do? They turn around and they punish you, right? They give you less time on the platform because they know you're turning down the cheapies that they created, the cheap fares that they created. You're turning them down. So they punish you. Naughty little boy will give you a timeout. We know that. And these type of things have to be conveyed and have to be negotiated, right? That style of management has to stop, right? Dear state, this is what they're doing to us. The state needs to understand what the companies are doing to us. They're throwing us $2.50 trips. We decline them. They punish us. They give us a timeout. That has to stop. Right? Make this a functioning, healthy business, not something that's based on threats and timeouts and deactivations and fear, right? This is a complete BS management style that Dara and Travis have incorporated, that their style of management is based on threats and fear. The same way Travis does it, the same way John Zimmer and Logan Green do it. No, it has to be a healthy environment. Let them pick and choose the trips. Let them dictate the fares. Let the market dictate itself. If the fees are too high, the person will take a taxi, right? So you will quickly find out what you can and what you cannot get from the market, what they will and what they will not be willing to pay, right? It has to regulate itself. You cannot have a company come in and say, hey, you know what? We're going to set the rates at 2 or 250 and destroy the market and destroy the shuttle industry and destroy the taxi industry. I understand why taxi drivers are so pissed off. I sympathize with taxi drivers. I actually stand with taxi drivers. I talk to taxi drivers, right? Because I want to understand where they're coming from. And I completely and fully understand where taxi drivers are coming from, is that the management style of Uber and Lyft is ruining their industry. There is so much space for everyone to make money, right? Transportation will happen every day. People need to get to work. People need to get to their planes. People need to get to their vacation resorts. It will never, ever go away until we maybe one day change over to flights, to drones, and we all have our own drones. But for the next 10 years, allow everyone to make money. Allow everyone to take care of themselves. Not just the fattest of the fatter should get fatter, right? It's a formula that is so completely screwed up. I understand shuttle drivers. I understand taxi drivers. I am also a voice for these individuals because I see that the management style that these guys are enforcing with their threatening, fearful ways is not working. And you know why it's not working? Because the day of reckoning is now. Now the walls are coming down everywhere. UK, California, everywhere. You got yourself here, Dara. It's your day of reckoning, right? Now, as RM Zayas correctly says, you can walk away. Absolutely. And if you can walk away, do something that you're happy about. Do something that you enjoy. Do something that, makes you a bit more money or way more money, right? You should be able to walk away from these evil slave wages as give me liberty or give me death. That, good line. Uber is evil slave wages. And what I'm fighting for and why we say no to Proposition 22 is that we have to leverage. We have to be willing to pound and knock as much as possible so that we get a deal that is better than before. Because what was happening before, people are telling me I was making way more money under Travis. Correct, you were, right? Because there was some degree of fairness there, right? 75 us, flat fee, 25% them. You were making money. In today's society where they're nickeling and diming you, taking away, I made a report on Lyft yesterday. Oh, why is $1.50 missing there? Why is $2.50 missing there? Why are they stealing all these amounts and they're not disclosing them, right? Okay. I'm not even going to read out Mary Lou's toxic message, right? Straight deactivation for you. There we go. Straight deactivation on that. Not going to tolerate any of that today. That's it, Mary Lou, you're done. You don't come into these rooms anymore. Alex says, good morning, Nifty 50, good morning. She's like an annoying fly. Like you have those flies, you see a little a piece of dog shit on the grass and you see this fly circulating, sitting down, flies off again, comes back, done with that, folks. And I'm in a good mood. I'm not upset or anything like that, right? We hear addressing Dara K's, the Uber CEO's threats. Lachelle Anderson, I'm with you, my sister. Seriously, let it out. Say it as it is. She says Uber is full of shit. You got to get it out. You got to say it, right? That's how you feel. We have to acknowledge what she says. I'm with you on that, right? It's better, instead of swallowing and taking it and shelving and building up that anger and eating junk food. No, say it as it is. Uber is full of shit, right? Scream it from the mountaintops, Lachelle. I'm with you. If I have a bullhorn, I will shout it with you, right? So the thing is, you want to get this company off the ground, Dara? You want to make this company successful? John Logan and John Zimmer, change your culture. Change the culture of how you treat your employees and your drivers and your staff and the gig workers, and change the culture of your in-house legal system, right? Because battle after battle, legal fight after legal fight will not get you anywhere, right? You need to hire diplomats. You need to hire people's people, right? People that are willing to sit down, work out deals, people that'll say, okay, let's bring in a couple of drivers from San Diego. Let's bring in a couple of drivers from Florida. Let's bring in a big group and let's hash this out. Let's see what happens on the street. You've got all these executives, and they may have fancy titles and they may have fancy degrees, but they do not understand the business. They've never been out there on the byways, the highways, the cul-de-sacs, the side streets, the off-ramps, the on-ramps. They've never been on that, so they don't understand the pulse of rideshare. They think, oh, we'll try this out. We'll try this out. We'll tell the engineer to build this into the algorithm, and we'll manipulate the algorithm over here. We'll outsmart them. We'll outclass them. BS. Mary Lou's out. Amaya says, please don't bash Uber. Damn it, let's all be, we can be nice to everyone. Amaya, I am with it. I'll be nice to you. I expect you to be nice to everyone in the room. But you cannot tolerate and swallow BS year after year and allow yourself, allow your livelihood, allow your monies to be manipulated, right? That's when it ends. That's when the being nice ends, right? When people try and take away, when people steal from you. Oh, I'm going to continue being nice to you because you're taking away from you. Oh, neighbor, I'm going to keep on being nice to you because you use my watering system to water your garden every day, and my bills are $300 a month. I'm going to keep on being nice to you. That formula doesn't work, my friend. Doesn't work. Michelle has a really good line there. I want to read that. It says, treat your drivers how you want to be treated. Give your drivers a fair chance. If they have 3 tickets, put them on probation, etc. But don't just deactivate drivers knowing you need them. Can we nominate you as CEO, please? Ukaman is in the house. Flash, Ukaman. I like it. So, good luck, Dara. So here he says, Uber would likely shut down. That's what he's threatening now. Uber would likely shut down temporarily for several months. They cannot afford that, right? So we know they cannot afford that. So it's bluff, bluff, bluff. If a court does not overturn a recent ruling requiring it to classify its drivers as full-time employees, CEO Dara Khosrowshahi said in an interview with Stephanie Ruler. If the court doesn't reconsider, threat to the court, threat to the judge, if the court doesn't reconsider, then in California, it's hard to believe we'll be able to switch our model to full-time employment quickly, right? The reason why is because they've never created a backup plan, right? I'm sure they have a backup plan for this. I'm sure he's just bluffing. I'm sure they have coded and put everything in place for this day if they have to. Uber and rival Lyft both have about a week left to appeal a preliminary injunction granted by a California judge on Monday that will prohibit the companies from continuing to classify their drivers as independent workers. Following the order will require Uber and Lyft to provide benefits and unemployment insurance for workers. California's Attorney General and 3 city attorneys brought the lawsuit against the companies under the state's new law, Assembly Bill 5, that aims to provide benefits to gig workers core to a company's business by classifying them as employees. In his decision granting the preliminary injunction, the judge rejected the notion that drivers should be considered outside the course of the company's business, calling the logic a classic example of circular reasoning. Now, I hope that Javier Becerra knows and understands that forcing everyone into employee status will probably not work out for anyone, right? I think that would be a lose-lose-lose scenario, lose for the state, lose, well, a little semi-win for the state, lose for the companies, lose for the workers. I think that Javier Becerra knows this is what we're threatening you with, come back with a good offer, right? And that's what they really have to do. They have to come back with a good offer. These people, attorneys are always willing to work with attorneys. Managers are always willing to work with managers. I just hope and pray we're at that table. And Javier Becerra, if you are listening, right, I've already mentioned this to your Deputy Attorney General who works with you down on Hill Street, right? A good friend of mine, I have voiced it over and over again. Please allow drivers at the negotiation table. Don't do this all behind our backs. Include those millions of drivers, right? Uber and Lyft both said they would appeal the ruling during the 10-day period before it goes into effect. Yes, they will appeal, and the appeal will be heard very, very quickly because they're not going to stall. Judges are not going to stall on this one. There's no buying time, playing the long game. No, they're going to hear the appeal quickly. My guess is they would lose the appeal. But between filing the appeal, bring your troops, bring your legal troops, Katie Weitzman, Randall, Heimovicki, Tony West, the CEOs, couple of executives, get into a room with the states people, bring in the drivers, and 6 feet apart, do it outside, but work something out, right? And the other YouTuber on here, I think it was Mark with that travel channel. He didn't succeed in the rideshare world, so he did a rideshare channel. Says I was utterly, completely wrong on how this would play out. It has played out exactly as I said it would, right? So bit by bit, detail by detail, exactly as I've been saying in the last 2 years, right? It's all a song and dance negotiation time, right? It's a negotiation process. Rather than classify drivers as employees, Khosrowshahi has advocated for what he calls a third way. Now, we're for this third way. This third way is the hybrid. I call it the hybrid, the in-between way, right? But they were pushing their fake independent contractorship, right, all the way. Double standards for people here in California, and different standards for people right next door in Vegas. They can't pick and choose and set their rates. No, so double standards everywhere, right? And he got himself here. Now he's willing to incorporate our language, the third way. And I do believe that a new third way, new laws, a new gig hybrid law is completely doable if the parties would meet, if the parties would include us. Ronald Van Engen says, if I'm an employee, I'm not driving my car. I'm with you on that. I'm not arguing against that. Just understand that I'm pushing for a better deal, right? Lachelle says, Tesla is going to do better than Uber once they start ride sharing. Uber is just a sorry-ass company. I like it. Tommy says, in the middle of the street, our house, in the middle of the street, our house, that is where we all meet. our house. That is where we hash out deals. Come on, incorporate us. Let us help you, California. Let us help you, Uber, to come up with a healthy deal. I'm sure we have a lot to say. I'm sure we have a lot to contribute, right? Khosrowshahi said on Wednesday that his plan B, if Uber can't win on appeal, would be to temporarily pause service in California. Don't threaten it. I say do it, right? Do it. See what happens. Do it. While he said Uber would later resume service in the state, it would likely be more centered in cities, which could mean limited availability in less concentrated areas like suburbs. Do it. Don't threaten. If the appeal doesn't work out for Uber, it will be banking on voters to determine its fate. Khosrowshahi said, if that's the case, the service would likely shut down in California until November, when voters in the state decide on Proposition 22, which would exempt drivers for app-based transportation and delivery companies from being considered employees. Uber has argued its drivers prefer working as independent contractors, true independent contractors, though California AG Javier Becerra rejected that claim as a bogus argument. Khosrowshahi emphasized that pausing service in the state would leave thousands of drivers without the income they would typically earn from Uber. Still, ridership has been down during the pandemic anyway, which the judge said made the injunction come to what it perhaps the least worst time for Uber and Lyft to adjust their business models. Becerra said in an interview on CNBC Tuesday that he was unconcerned about the potential for Uber to leave the state as a result of the order. Any business model that relies on short changing workers in order to make it probably shouldn't be anywhere, whether California or otherwise. A good comeback line. So several people have asked me if I could flush Dara one more time symbolically. I will do that. I will do that. I will do that for you. So we have a toilet here. We have a toilet. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to touch it because it's wet and it stinks. I'm going to do the symbolic flush because a couple of people have asked. So we have, it's wet, it's steaming, and it stinks. I'm going to keep away because it stinks so bad. And I put it in here. It was a big one, a big turd. Dara, we wish you well. Oh, he's stubborn. He's re-emerging. Let me flush one more time. He's gone, folks. He's gone. We gave him the symbolic flush. There he goes, down the tubes, down the drains, into the sewerage lines, and he just runs along with all the other turds, flushing down. That's one hard-ass piece of shit. Woo! Gotta have some fun. Gotta have some fun on a Wednesday. All right, my friends, so I'm sure you got this email yesterday from Lyft, this email yesterday from Uber, question the timing, same type of psychology, same type of threat, fear marketing, right? You will basically lose all your privileges if you do not go our way. I have a message for you, Uber and Lyft. You got yourself here. You got yourself into this position with your arrogance, with your above the law attitude. You had the chance to cut many deals. You had the chance to sit down. What you did is you chose to sue all of these identities, right? You chose to make them the defendant and yourself the plaintiff. You got yourself here. So now, so late in the game, don't cry, don't pout, don't stomp your feet. What you need to do is put your little ass tail between your legs, right? And you got to go crawling in there to the offices and say, hey, we want to work out a deal. We want to change the culture of Uber and Lyft. We want to work with Uber and Lyft drivers. Please allow us a chance to start again. That is my advice for Dara. That is my advice for John Zimmer. Take away your ego, take away your pride, go in there with your little army of briefcase hauling attorneys, right? And kiss ass, kiss big ass, kiss Javier Becerra's ass, kiss the UK Supreme Court's ass and say, hey, we effed up royally. We want to change our tone. We want to change our culture. We want to work with you. Let's make this work for everyone. For the drivers, we need to start appreciating them. For the state, we need to start paying in there. And for the company, we need to raise the rates for the riders a little bit. That is how you move these companies forward, period. Dennis is in the house. Phil's in the house. Ken Z is in the house. Ed says bye-bye, and then Ed Steigelmeier says take your medicine. I'm not sure who that was for, but Berhanu Bikele says hi, how are you? How's the coffee taste this morning? I have my daily coffee, otherwise the engines don't start. Otherwise this V8 ain't gonna operate. Even rhymes. Michelle says we have more power if we all work together. Thank you, and stand up like Bob Marley, one of my favorite songs. Get up, stand up for your rights. I say get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. That's it. Uber and Lyft think they have the power over us, but they don't. Just we as the drivers have more power than them, believe me. Amen. Amen. Give her all a huge shout out and a thank you for saying that, right? Because she's on the money. She understands that we have the power, and we do. So together we sing Bob Marley's song. Get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. It's Steigelmeier. Dara, bye-bye. Exactly. Dara, take your medicine. Go to that cabinet, that medical cabinet in your house in San Francisco. Open that medical cabinet up and take your pills. Pop your pills. And then come and negotiate a deal. Change your culture. I've got a good friend in the house here, great car deals. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. What a beautiful entry. Walks into the thing and wishes everyone well. Thank you. That is like setting the tone for the day. Good morning, everyone. I can see the smile on his face. I hope everyone is doing well. You think that Dara would walk out amongst thousands of drivers out there? Good morning, my drivers. How is everyone? No. I'm going to go back to my office. I'm going to figure out a way how to screw over these frickin' drivers. Lawyers, file your papers. Lawyers, file your papers. No, Dara, go out there. Have his attitude. Good morning, my drivers. How is everyone? And then the golden line. The golden line, may I quote her? She's coming up with so much good content today. Just remember, Uber and Lyft need you more than you need them. You have other options. They don't operate with you, but you have options. AZ is in the house. AZ, how are you, buddy? How's the familia doing? Is everyone safe? Is everyone healthy? I hope they are. His puff piece. You read his puff piece, right? NOP. I am the CEO. Who goes out there and says, I am the Queen of England? I am the CEO of Uber. What a way to start your opinion piece. Ego, ego, ego. Ay, 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 ay. You realize it makes it all about him. I am the CEO of Uber. Good question. IQ Boy says, serious note. What's plan B if 22 passes? Good question. Valid question. I think that you'll still have the choice to choose to drive when you want to. Maybe a tiny little uptick in your rights, maybe a tiny little safety net built in there, but pretty much same old, right? No drastic improvements, no plan for the next pandemic. Hopefully it never comes around. But, I mean, the show will go on, no doubt about it. The show will go on. Paul Figueroa, San Diego, stand up. San Diego, California. And they're doing well down there. Paul Figueroa and Thomas Gibson, they got it figured out. They got San Diego figured out. The work smart formula. An advocate for justice, no, just an advocate for fairness, man. An advocate for fairness. But I guess fairness comes from getting justice, right? But thank you for saying that. Hope you and the family are doing well, Paul, and enjoying this beautiful weather outside. Alex, good question. Alex S says, what do you predict will happen within the next few weeks? Here's my prediction. They will actually talk to each other. They have no option now. They'll actually start talking, right? Or you really, really roll the dice. You really take a mega big risk, which I don't think they would take, and that is shut it down and come out with something that sort of semi-appeals California, right? It's not going to be a true employee type of app, and then hope and pray that you get a yes on 22, right? But I don't think that they would roll the dice. I think this is all part of a big fear marketing campaign, a bluffing campaign from Uber, because they know they got themselves there and they lost, right? Their strategy did not work out. Let's face it, their strategy did not work out. But it's a really good question. What do you predict will happen with the next few weeks? And again, I would pose the same question to the room. What do you guys think will happen in the next few weeks? I think they'll actually start talking to each other. Dennis says, no on 22. Remember when they fired you for rider false accusation? This is your chance for payback, people. They didn't care when they just went ahead and deactivated you. Rider is always right. Rider is always right. Whatever the rider tells us must be right. Whatever the passenger says has to be right. So, hey, get rid of that driver. 5-star rated driver, will replace him with the next. No care, no remorse. It's in their culture. They haven't changed the culture. They haven't pulled the culture switch yet. Cluck. They've got to pull that culture switch, right? Muhammad Khalil is in the house. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for saying hello to everyone. Someone tell Dara to read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Excellent book. I think we have it somewhere over here. Maybe I should read some lines from that book. Very good book, right? I believe that is a Carnegie book, isn't it? That's a good book. How to Win Friends and Influence People. and be influenced by the stories. I like that. Thanks for putting that out there, Mohammed. Great suggestion. IQ Boy, I'll watch the channel for the next few weeks and do nothing. Another big unknown is, the PUA. It's a big unknown. It's a big question mark. Let's see what those guys hash out. Phil says, Lyft has a video conference tomorrow. Let's see how many questions John Zimmer takes this time. Yeah, last time he looked like a deer in headlights, right? And he took a total of 5 questions. And that's a good one. And thank you for that tip. I should tune into that one. Blue Dog says, drivers have never been a cohesive group, and this has helped Uber tremendously. Yeah, because it's very split sometimes, right? You'll see it on a strike and a protest. There's people out there fighting for better rights, and then the next thing you'll see is a Uber car drive by with passengers inside. So it's a very split type of environment. Mohammed says, no, it's not comical. It's by Dale Carnegie. Yep, I said Carnegie. I was right there. Thousands of people have attended seminars to change their lives. Indeed, indeed. It's a great book. Anybody hasn't read that, do yourself a huge favor. It's a book written quite some time ago by Carnegie, but it's still a... Taha Abbasi, sorry I didn't see you up there. Damn, good to see you, brother. Taha Abbasi, thanks for bringing light to these issues. Professor, these guys are basically bullying drivers and even governments because they think no one will stand against them. And let me say something about Taha and his integrity and him as a person, right? He has morals, he has ethics, right? And he has a personality. Something that, let's say, the person at Trip that he worked for, Rob McNulty, doesn't have, right? He's an incomplete individual. He looks very sick if you look at him walking around his golf course with his 2 little doggies, doing his me, myself, and I videos, right? He doesn't look healthy because he is not a completed individual. I feel energetically when a person is sincere. And to whether you want to call him the whistleblower, whether you want to call him the guy that has exposed the Trip story, the truth, right? It takes someone brave. It takes someone big to stand up and say, this is wrong. What's going on there is wrong. To collect the evidence, to show the evidence that, for example, this video that they put out there of Robert McNulty's son, right? Where he says, we have their money. They cannot get a chargeback because 6 months have gone by, which means he understands the law. He manipulates the law against the people so he does not have to pay them out. We have their money. They will not get their money back because he knows the chargeback laws on Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. Well, American Express, you usually always get your money back, right? Very safe one. But a brave move to then start a movement to shine the light on those Trip cockroaches, right, that are shafting people. They haven't even got the first platform off the ground. Now they're creating a restaurant platform and shafting more people. And it's update. I believe we have update number 25,782 right now by Bob McNulty. Coming. 36 months later, selling the same BS. And sadly, can you get it? Sadly, there are people that are not willing to step out of that toxic realm, and they allow themselves to be bullied and manipulated. You got it?
I can't see it without a store.
Go quickly.
I can't see it.
Come in. Just open it, Danu. Nothing's going to happen. Can somebody get the door? So good for you, Taha. Oh, tell Shane I'm in a tell Shane I'm in a video. I'll get back to him in a few minutes. I'll be done. I'm in a live stream. So again, thank you for your bravery. Thank you for shining the light and bringing some truth into the matter. And they try to make him the fall guy. They try to put all the blame on him now, pointing, because they won't acknowledge that they screwed up. So what they try and do is they're trying to point the fingers at Taha, who has humiliated them, who has exposed them, and now they blame him. Oh, he screwed the company up. Easy for McNulty to do because he's done it over and over again. McNulty is a start cycle guy. He's not a completer, right? He starts, collects, but never completes, right? You can see it in the pattern of all his work, and he does not look healthy. He looks very, very unhealthy. Dara is also doing a live feed by invite tomorrow. By invite? Only if you're invited to his feed can you attend? Interesting. Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. All right, my friends, I got to rock and roll. Got to get to Long Beach again. Got to get this car done. It's taking way too long, costing way, way too much money. It's the problem when you buy a 55-year-old, a 1955 car, 45, 65 years old, right? If you want to restore it, you got to replace a lot of those parts, man. Brakes, drums, rear axle, engine, exhaust system, wiring, harnesses, blah, 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 ka-ching, ka-ling, ka-ching, ka-ching. So yesterday was a pretty heated live stream. Even had a guy take a $1,000 bet with me and then retract it. Tim, big loud mouths, right? Throwing big dollar signs, and then hey, I accepted his bet for $1,000. I put the money down. I showed the people, here's the $1,000. I'm putting it down. Shake, and then he backed out. So as a joke, I called him a chicken shit. I stand by that, right? So don't go out there and make big, bold statements and big bets with big dollar signs and you cannot back it up, right? That just shows who you are, right? So be true to your word. Lachelle says they give passengers too much power that has to stop. Indeed. Man, you're getting all the PowerPoints today, Lachelle. You're nailing them. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. They give passengers too much power that that has to stop, which means the power that the passenger has, and they know it, they know that power is that they can contact the company, maybe get their monies back on that fare, maybe get the driver deactivated, right? They can get away with stuff. And they can get away with all of this without having to pay a premium. They pay the lowest discounted, subsidized fare. All of that thrown into the package. They're smiling all day long. They're getting 5-star service, maybe a water, maybe some mints, clean car, safe driver, all of that for $3 or $4. And by the way, if they're not happy, they can get that $3 or $4 back. All they have to do is pick up the phone. So that culture has to end. And Dara has to acknowledge, Uber and Lyft have to acknowledge that is a massive, massive, massive problem that they have created. And that is that the passengers are way too cozy with their passengers. It's time to raise the rates. Mark Roughton comes in with 110 in Vegas. Holy moly, 110. What did he say? Ronald Van Engen says, drive those private clients to the airports, take the cash, and give nobody a cut. That's what I've been teaching many, many drivers. That is the real formula to make money. Put all of that money in your own pocket, be your own boss, set your own rates, create your own clientele, and recruit them. Recruit them from Uber and Lyft, recruit them over. They're taking from you, take from them. KL says, every dollar they made is extortion from that system, otherwise would have failed. William North's in the house. He says, Torstenator, thanks again for another great video. Oh, hey, dude, I appreciate you being here. You're a wonderful human being. I appreciate your input. And we're trying, and we are making an impact, as you can see. Our efforts are making an impact. We have been shouting from the mountaintops nonstop for 2 years, and we are now seeing results. They are going to have to cut a better deal if they want to stay in business. That's great. We have been successfully mounting the chips. And let him make those idle threats. I will close Uber down in California. Don't threaten it. Do it, Dara. Shut it down. That's it. Go, Donnie. Shut it down. That's what I say. Shut it down. They will quickly change their tune when they lose all those revenues in San Diego, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in the Empire, in Orange County, in Monterey, in San Luis Obispo, in Sacramento, in San Jose, in Mount Shasta, in Redlands, in Irvine, in Newport Beach, in Santa Monica, in West Hollywood, in Pacific Palisades, in Burbank, in Van Nuys, in Encino, in Tarzana, in Thousand Oaks, in Calabasas, in Agoura Hills, in Westlake City, in Culver City, in Venice, in Marina del Rey, in Redondo Beach, in Hermosa Beach, in Manhattan Beach, in Torrance, in Anaheim. Shut them off. Shut them off and see what happens, Dara. Shut off all those cities. You can't do it because you need that money. So stop being the big bully. Stop being the tough guy and come out and cut a deal. You spoiled little frickin' brat. Thank you, Dark Road Run, another legend in the house. A spoiled little child. I will stomp my feet and shut that California down. Do it, fool. All those cities that I just mentioned, I just rattled off 50 cities. Shut them down. You can't. You cannot, Mr. Tough Guy. Yeah, I think we should do a survey and nominate Dark Road Run as the CEO. And he makes the best videos, the best video cuts, edits. I mean, yesterday he had Harry and Dara next to each other, and then he was talking on behalf of, I mean, I don't know how you do it, dude, but it's like some magic that you do. Sherelle is in the house. Did I sleep? Yeah, I slept well. I slept very well. Oh, he said to Dark Road Run. Okay. Really powerful statement here by Malcolm F. If Uber would have treated drivers with some dignity, they wouldn't have these problems. It's a shame how they shitted on the drivers. That's it. That sums it up right there. Let's crap on them like pigeons. Let's crap on them like pigeons. Let's take away their seed, their food. Let's box them in, those pigeons, in the cage, and that's it. Well, at some point, ladies and gentlemen, the pigeons got out the cage, and we're strong. We went to feed, we got our water, we're coming back as fighter pigeons. They don't like it. And now we're shitting on their balconies, now we're shitting on their windows, on their headquarters. Wicked Hustle Guy is in the house. We're trying, you know, we're trying that. I'm trying that with the co-op in Canada to get that rideshare company off the ground, to get grants, to get funding. That's an uphill climb. And right now, people really don't want to talk to you during the pandemic, right? Everybody's like, too uncertain. Not easy to get funding in these times. William North says, we'll quote rides to include pickup time and miles in the fare. Exactly. Just be transparent, right? Just give the people like, hey, do you want to go and pick up the guy over here? You know, this is the minimum. You can set your own rates. Do you want to go and deliver this person over here? No, I'm not going to drive in that direction. It's too much out of my way. It's going to cost me too many dead miles. So I'll decline that one. Let somebody else up here take that trip, right? Create a fair and even balanced playing field and let the markets dictate, right? Instead of driving taxi drivers out of business, instead of driving shuttle drivers, I feel their pain. You know, the taxi drivers and shuttle drivers are having a hell of a hard time to keep up with these discounted, subsidized trips where Uber and Lyft are cozying and kissing ass to the passenger, right? And you, dear passenger, out in the public, it's not like we're putting you down. All we are asking you to do is, are you happy to pay another 20% more so we can make this work for everyone? So we can keep taxi drivers in business, so we can keep shuttle drivers in business, so we can keep Uber and Lyft drivers in business. State gets something. Company doesn't make quite those greedy cuts as they did before, but at least we can keep the playing field happy. Reiki climb. Yeah. Excellent. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Diesel, 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 diesel. Another sip of coffee. That's a funny one. I got this. Go, Donnie. Go, Donnie, Donnie. Go, Donnie, come. See, I think that's the magic number there. Wicked Hustler says, and I mentioned that yesterday, that exact figure. I found that at 1.5 multiplier, that customers are still willing to pay a higher price over a taxi service. And that is 150,000% correct, right? Try it out. They are willing. That is a safe number. It's not a greedy number. It's making you more money. And it's completely digestible. And I believe we have one person in the house who applies that very same formula, 1.5. And again, I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair that Californians, for a very short while, have the ability to do that, and that other people in the other states, even around the world, cannot set their own multiplier of 1.5. It's wrong. It's like double. Just see how they operate. Double standards. Good for them, not good for them. Good for you, not good for you. Right? CEO is making his round. He's coming. Dara, you're invited on the show. If you're willing to take a couple of tough questions, if you're willing to answer the questions of the individuals in the room, because it's going to be an open comments, right? I'm not shutting any comments down. Those are the conditions. Come onto our platform, right? Have the balls and explain to the house, right, how you want to sort this toxic culture out, right? Come onto the show. Go on to GoDonnie.com show. Do your rounds. Go on to 20 YouTubers and interact. Open comments, right? And the facilitator, the influencer, the YouTuber that creates the feed should be able to read out the question. Dara, I have a question to you from the Wicked Hustle Guy. Dara, I have a question here from Abstract Echo. Dara, I have a question here from GoDonny.com. Dara, I have a question here from you and from NOP, and this is his question, and this is her question, and this is Sherelle's question. Please answer them, right? That's the only way it's going to work. That's the only way you're going to get true and honest feedback, right? But it's not in his nature, because he is not a people's person. He is a shy recluse who likes to manage from the sidelines and more bully, dictate, and launch all his little fear campaigns here, right? This is all just fear messages. Fear messages, right? Here, this is another fear message. Notice how many fear messages, fear marketing in 2 days. I will shut Uber down temporarily in California. Don't threaten us, dude. Do it. I said do it. Show us that you can do it. Do it. All right. Enough of my yappity yap. I've yapped a lot today. I've spoken a lot. You guys are the judges. You guys are the judges. You judge the stories. You judge the feedback. You judge the YouTuber, right? You literally moderating the feed, right? It's sort of like in your hands. You can steer the feed in whichever way you want to, right? It's your platform. You created it. I'm a facilitator. I'm a voice. And all I can do as a middleman, see me as a middleman, right? There's the company, there's the people, the hard workers, and then you have a middleman. And then you can talk through the middleman, right? So I just facilitate all your questions, your suggestions. We've had a lot of good input today, right? A lot of good input. And I would just hope and pray to have a team there that jumps into these feeds and just listens and takes notes. Oh, yeah, he made a good point. Okay, let me write that down. Let me write that down. Oh, cut and paste. Let's go through that later. Let's see what they said. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Aha, that's what they're saying. Aha. Abstract Echo. He says, I don't want to be the judge. I want to be the execution. Oh, my God, you're funny. And Ray Branch says, or SUV, we should get paid more. I mean, look at what they've done to that SUV category. Look how they've shredded that SUV category, where you once upon a time were making $4 something per mile and $25 minimum starting point. I mean, you could literally drive down the road and you would have $30 if you were in an SUV. Good old times. Not the case anymore, my friend. Ray, do you remember those times? Oh, he's there again? Oh, he's waiting there for me. Shane is waiting. Oh my God, I told him to come back. Okay, then I got something to attend to. This guy's been waiting for me here. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great Wednesday, everyone. Thank you for being here. Be safe, everyone. And let's meet again soon. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of more material to discuss, because I know that Dara K cannot be silent during these times. Because why? He's desperate. Everyone, thank you, and thank you again. Be well. Thank you, Sherelle. Everyone, have a good day. I appreciate you being here. Great input today. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.